Hey guys, John V here from PhoneArena. Right now you're watching our in-depth video review of the Samsung Galaxy Gear smartwatch. Now it's a totally new segment that Samsung's diving themselves into. So it has some of the functions of a smartphone built to a watch. So you can make phone calls, you can get notifications, even take photos and videos, and the whole thing sounds pretty neat. But when it comes down to it, is this something that's practical or is it just something that's gimmicky? We'll find out in this review right now. Whoever designed the Samsung Galaxy Gear really needs to be applauded just because as a Samsung made device, we're really astounded by its looks. It just has this premium element that we don't see with Samsung's set of smartphones. First of all, they use some high quality materials. The front casing is actually stainless steel, which has a very nice luxurious element to its aesthetics. However, the rest of the casings comprise out of plastic, but it's the sturdy variety, so it gives the smartwatch an overall solid feel. Depending on the color of the wrist strap, it could give the Galaxy Gear either a toyish or a little bit more of a premium look with its overall design. Now, the one we have here is this brown color and really accents the stainless steel finish of the front casing, but they have other colors like orange, which really has a standout look, but at times can make the device look rather toyish. Putting on the Galaxy Gear isn't much of a problem, but when you first try it out, it might take a few times just to get it right. So basically you have the clasp right here, so you can adjust the length for your perfect fit. So once you find the perfect hole for you, all you gotta do is just make sure that it's secured on there. So once we have it on like so, we can just put it on our wrist, and from here we could close everything and you'll hear a snap to ensure that it's locked in place, and it feels comfortable, never feels too restricting, and like I said, depending on color, it could really complement the overall styling of the smartwatch. So its biggest standout feature is its display. Now compared to smartphones, it is tiny in size. It's actually a 1.63 inch 320 by 320 Super AMOLED display. So the same display technology in use with many of Samsung's smartphones. And we gotta say, it does all the qualities that we like about it. You have those saturated colors, wide viewing angles. When it comes to outdoor visibility though, it still kind of washes out. So we find ourselves having to cover it with our hand to visibly see what's on screen. But when it comes to the resolution, of course, nothing worth bragging about for a device with this size screen. It's more than adequate. It's pretty detailed. If you're worried about scratching the display, there's no cause for alarm just because the Galaxy Gear features a sapphire glass over the display, so it's very sturdy and it gives it a nice polished look. Now when it comes to the touch responsiveness, it's pretty good. At times though, we do notice that it's a little bit laggy, but that can be attributed to the software and employs various different gestures, which gives us some functions. For example, you could swipe left and right. In order to do a back function, let's say for example you launch an application, you want to do a back function, you just swipe from the top bezel down and automatically will do the back function for you. If you double tap the screen with 2 fingers, it's going to give us access to some of the connectivity features, the status, and also the volume and brightness adjustment. And if we do a long press with 2 fingers, it's going to give us the multitasking menu here. And finally, if we're on the home screen with the clock widget, if we swipe down from top bezel, we're going to gain access to the camera very quickly. And likewise, if we swipe up from the bottom bezel on the clock screen, we're going to get access to the dial pad. In order to charge the smartwatch, we've got to use the included adapter cable just because there isn't a micro USB port incorporated into the housing of the smartwatch. Now, it probably would have increased its thickness. It's pretty thick already as a watch, but with this here, it's basically a cradle. So all you got to do is actually open it up like so. And there are these pins here on the back, actually on the units, on the cradle, and on the back it corresponds with the pins on the Galaxy Gear smartwatch. So all you gotta do is just place it like so. You snap into place. You can still interact with the device, and from here there's a micro USB cable in the back to charge it up. Right now, the Samsung Galaxy Gear smartwatch is compatible to work with Samsung Galaxy Note. Unfortunately, no other devices are compatible with it right now, but Samsung's working hard to get other things like the S4 and even the Note 2 to be included. So you're probably wondering, what can it do? Now, it's a companion device, so it's not quite, doesn't quite have the same diverse set of functionality as a smartphone, but actually takes some of the most basic stuff and allows us to do some of the functions here in the smartwatch. For example, you can make phone calls with it. That's the obvious thing. So it's like a Dick Tracy watch, just because there's a built-in speaker in the back. But for phone calls, the quality is rather disappointing, just because the speaker itself is kind of weak, so in noisy environments it drowns out, and voices tend to have some distortion to them. You can also get notifications on the smartwatch itself. Rather than checking them out on your phone, you could use it. It's a little bit more discreet, of course. And the nice thing about it is that we're able to view some of them directly on the smartwatch display here. But for the most part, it's rather inconsistent, just because not everything's displayed. Usually, whenever you get a message like that, it just tells you could view it on your device, on your smartphone, as opposed to this, which is a little bit frustrating, just because with a smartwatch like this, it'd been nice to see everything directly here. Like, for example, emails, with the standard email application, it actually will show you exactly what they are here in the email itself, so which is pretty nice. You could read your emails, but if you do different things, like say for example, you go to Gmail, you'll get your notifications, but from here it's going to tell you you could view the details more on your device. And again, that kind of just defeats the purpose, and it's rather inconsistent. With text messages, you'll be able to read it directly here. Facebook, same thing applies with the Gmail. It just tells you to look at your device instead of being displayed here on the screen. It also features a mini version of S Voice on the smartwatch. The reason why I say mini is just because it doesn't have the full-blown offering that you get on a Samsung Galaxy S device. Now with this, you can do basic stuff like make phone calls. You could even tell it to send text messages, or even tell it, for example, what's the weather like? And then from there, it's going to tell you what it is. Now, it's really basic. Like I said, you're not going to be able to do other things like ask it questions, like who is the president of the US, or asking for turn-by-turn directions. You don't have that functionality on board. And right now, it's just very basic in what it can do, and doesn't really give you a true hands-free experience. It would have been nice if it was actively listening, so instead of pressing the button twice on the side to activate the service, we could just say it with our voice. Even though the screen is tiny and a little bit difficult to see stuff like photos, the gallery here just gives us some of the same basic functionality we find on a standard smartphone. So for example, we could swipe through all the photos here that we have. We could pinch zoom, of course, and for videos, they'll actually play here, which is pretty nice. Again, not quite ideal just because of the screen size, and we could also do a bunch of different stuff. We could transfer it directly to the unit itself or share it, but right now it's very limited in what kind of services it could do that with. Likewise, the MIDI controller function here with smartwatch is pretty much straightforward. It just allows us to control the music playback on the Samsung Galaxy Note 3. Very basic, of course. You have volume up, volume down, pause, play, track forward, track reverse. That's the extent. So rather than fiddling around with your smartphone, you can do it all here on the Galaxy Gear. Now, by default, it plays the Samsung TouchWiz music player. But if you want to control the Google Play Music app, you got to run the app itself first on the Galaxy Note 3. Initially, we had high expectations with the pedometer feature with the Samsung Galaxy Gear, just because it's able to actually tell us how far we walked, how many steps we've taken, and in turn, how many calories we're actually burning in the process. But unlike some of the other wearable fitness trackers out there, like the Fitbit, this doesn't constantly track those steps. Instead, it's a manual process. We actually have to tell it when to start, and then from here, pause. Again, that's probably attributed to just battery life. If it was constantly tracking that stuff, it's going to just consume a lot. From here, we could transfer it, send it to the Galaxy Note 3, to the S Health application, and from there we could view some detailed information about our fitness. There are also several other neat smart features that we find very useful, some more than others. The first one here is just the wake up gesture. So instead of having to press the button on the side of the Galaxy Gear, turn on display and just find out what the time is, all we gotta do is just twist our wrist like so, as if we're looking at the watch, and voila, it automatically turn on. Now, for the most part, it works fairly well, but if you're moving very quickly, chances are it's not gonna work right away. Another neat feature is being able to actually bypass the lock on the Samsung Galaxy Note 3. So if you have a numeric lock, or in this case a pattern lock, as long as the Galaxy Note 3 senses that the Galaxy Gear is in your hand and close nearby, it automatically will bypass the lock for you. So all you gotta do is just swipe away and you gain access to the Note 3. And finally, there's the Smart Relay feature. Essentially, if you get a notification on the Galaxy Gear, all you gotta do is just pick up the Samsung Galaxy Note 3, and it's gonna open up the corresponding application that is tied together with the notification. So for example, if it's a text message, you pick up the Galaxy Note 3, it'll automatically turn it on and jump right to the text messaging app. And the same thing applies with some of the other applications. So like Gmail, if you get an email, it's gonna open up the standard email application. Now, it works, but it's rather hit or miss. Sometimes we notice that when we pick it up, it doesn't do anything. So it could be just a little bit wonky at times. So what's battery life with the smartwatch? Well, we're happy to report that we're able to get by through a solid day of normal usage with it, which is pretty good, considering that, but it's still something that you're gonna have to charge nightly. We actually have a wish list with the Galaxy Gear smartwatch. Not quite a home run here with the first incarnation. And hopefully Samsung tweaks it enough with version 2.0 or the second generation of this device so it becomes a better, more improved companion device. So what do we want to see? Well, first of all, it's just a front-facing camera, so we have video chat support. It has a camera here, but it's not quite used for that purpose. Secondly, we'd like to see a micro SD card slot just to supplement internal storage capacity. So instead of playing music, with the music player here, instead of controlling it, we could actually play the music on it. And the last thing we'd like to see is just touchless controls like what you find at the Moto X. Just because right now it's still a manual process, and it's not quite as diverse in what it could do. We would like to get turn-by-turn directions, just by speaking it rather than pressing the button and it having to listen in. As we've seen, the Samsung Galaxy Gear isn't quite there yet. It's a good first effort by Samsung, but not quite a home run out of the park. There's just some things about it that needs more refinement to make it a better offering. And at $300, it's still something that's really expensive to pick up, especially considering that it's fairly limited in what it can do right now. So if you guys want to learn more about the Samsung Galaxy Gear smartwatch, you can check out our website, PhoneArena.com. It's John V. Thanks for watching.